Lieutenant Gunderson, former head of the FBI in L.A., Dallas, and Memphis.
First you try to get me, prosecute me in Dallas with your investigation, 3 investigations and all. I was 2 days away from being indicted by a grand jury here, by the way. That's another story and I don't have time to tell it. Said first you try to get me in Dallas, and now you set this girl up on me. What else has happened to me? I've had surveillances on me galore. I've had people planning on me, probably 18, 20 people planning on me in the last 28 years. I've had burglaries. They've come into my house, even when I'm asleep. They put a penny on the foot of my bed one night when I was there. To bed at midnight, I got up at 3 o'clock to relieve myself. My bathrobe, when I went to bed, was at the foot of my bed. And I got up and here ceremoniously laid out like a rug next to the bed. I've been a victim of cyber terrorism, threatening phone calls, hidden camera. I came home from a trip here within the last 5 or 6 weeks, month I guess it is. I was looking for a file on the table that I had in my apartment, my house in Claytonia, and I couldn't find it. I was looking through, and I had a phone call, 8:27 a.m., and a male voice says, "Did you find the file?" They had a camera in there, hidden camera in there, but they have cameras now that the size of the end of a pinpoint of a needle. Had threatening phone calls, cyber terrorism, hidden cameras, stolen. My car's been stolen. I've had gang stalking. I've had gang stalking on me. Flat tires. My window's been shot out twice. Both times I was standing near the window. I have had TV surveillance of me. They can monitor you through the cable television, by the way, even if it's off. I've had threatening letters, and most recently, I've been the victim of a disinformation program by a guy named Stu Webb. You know what? After that disinformation came out, my speaking tours came down to nothing, really. I was doing a lot of lectures before that. And we have enough idiots out there that believe this off the internet, because it's on the internet, that it really affected my opportunity to get the word out. But this is what they had in mind. It's called a disinformation program. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know if anybody's going to do anything about it. Hopefully they will. Based on 28 years experience and research, I have determined there are thousands of victims who have been targeted by an illegal U.S. government rogue criminal enterprise that is active 24 hours a day throughout the United States. A network of victims who work with me have reached the same conclusion based on 1, their personal experience. These are the people who have come to me. 2, the significant number of victims, thousands of them. And 3, the extent and intensity of the harassment. I'm talking about micro beams, I'm talking about surveillances, I'm talking about poison gas, everything, the evil that you can think of. I believe this well-organized, sophisticated operation has a central command located somewhere in the United States with multiple satellite offices scattered throughout the country. This criminal enterprise by this rogue element targets an individual. It is necessary in order to target them, they 1, identify the individual, 2, outline the reason the victim is targeted, and 3, document and identify the weapons and tactics being directed against him or her. So I will do that in this lecture that I'm giving right here today. There is a conspiracy. This lecture is dedicated to all the corrupt politicians, the judges that allow guilty people to go to jail deliberately, and my my second webmaster is a victim of this. Not only the politicians and the judges, but the bureaucrats who investigate these matters. CIA, FBI, military intelligence. The real, most serious culprits of all are the military intelligence. I can't tell you how many illegal burglaries, illegal entries I've had into my home. It's like Grand Central Station. They're in and out of there, and it's unbelievable. I took a trip when I was in Nebraska. I was gone for about 3 weeks. I came back, and I had my research, 500 boxes of research over a period of years, stored in the 3rd bedroom. They helped themselves to 200 boxes of my research.
Buds is the emerging SEAL group.
Oh, I see. They're budding SEALs.
Budding SEALs.
I see.
And they have to break into houses. Their training exercise is to break into civilians' houses.
For practice.
For practice. They broke into my house. And then when the psyching was beginning, I had white blouses, but they would all have black dots on them. I'd say, George, here's another blouse with a black dot.
It was just a little message?
This is somebody's message. And, you know, I was always looking around for screwdrivers. Well, one day I come home, and there are about 12 screwdrivers on the table, you know, neatly placed. Well, you can't call the police and say, I've got 12 screwdrivers, you know. You can't tell people that you've got black dots on all your white blouses.
It's the thing nightmares are made of.
You know, it's so creepy that I decided to have a bolt put on the door, and I'm having my son sleep in here with me.
Creepy only begins to describe it.
It's like an alternate reality, really.
When she'd get home from work, Fasika Tafara started noticing things out of place in her
You
home.
know, they were just all open, but what was weird is, so for example, they were open like this, but they were all at the same level.
First, the windows, then lights turned on, her cabinets pulled out.
It's intended to let me know that somebody has been here.
Gangstalking. It's an eerie practice aimed at your psyche to make you almost feel like you're going crazy.
It's spooky, and my understanding is that if this is in fact what it is, it can go on for years, you know.
Only you're not. Tafara left her phone recording audio at her house. Listen, you can hear what sounds like people rummaging around. On one, you can hear what sounds like drilling.
They're in and out of my car on a regular basis. I can, right here in L.A., I parked down, up from her parking downtown, and I came back, and they do this all the time, turn the direction signal on. I start the car up, and the direction signal's on. I had my car stolen twice. I had my brake lines cut. I have had 2 windows shot out when I was standing nearby. They were intimidating me. They weren't real bullets, fortunately. They were air bullets. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to intimidate me. I've been poisoned in Las Vegas. I was poisoned. And what they did there, the only way they could have poisoned me is they had the condominium next to me, and they were pumping poison in through the air ducts.
The teams, the biological electronic warfare school that, after my husband left FMF Lant, he went to the school, you know, the Special Operations School, which ran the teams, foreigners, and everywhere.
Okay, that kind of gives you, I think I laid the foundation pretty well, didn't I? Yeah. Okay, that just tell you what they're after. Okay, I'm not the only victim. There's thousands of Americans out there. By the way, I've been shot with a laser beam twice in my back. Fortunately, they're not very good aims. And my webmaster, Clarence Malcolm, been shot also. My mail's been opened, diverted, and intercepted. My phone was cut off once. And I called the phone company. I said, hey, you discontinued my phone. Why? And they said, well, we sent you a bill. You didn't pay it. I said, well, where'd you send it? They sent it to a fictitious address in Florida. Never heard of it. I've had mail disappear. People written to me, and I've never received it. Surveillances are almost a daily occurrence. And what I do is I do U-turns on them and get around behind them and chase them. And they try to intimidate me. Look, I was in a gun battle in Memphis, Tennessee at the airport. If they're going to intimidate me, they're not going to intimidate me. I'm not afraid of them. I've dealt with terrorists when I was in the FBI. And I remember when back in about 90 or 91, They put a dirt bag out, just parked across the street, maybe 4 or 5 cars up. And I would see them there, and I'd put on my gun, go out and get in my car, drive by at 3 miles an hour, stare them down, do a U-turn, 3 miles an hour, stare them down. Then I'd park in behind them. And they couldn't get out of there fast enough. One of them ran a red light. Then I chased another one and cornered him on the street, blocked him, and I reached under my front seat like I was going for a piece, and his eyes got big as saucers. And I was on a street that went up the hill and down. It was one way. I went up and down and parked at the bottom of the hill, and then he started coming up, and I was watching the rearview mirror. I could see the top of the car, and when he saw me, he stopped and backed up the wrong way in a one-way street. By the way, I've got some pretty good license numbers, a lot of license numbers that I'm saving. My business has been sabotaged, Virginia McCullough. I've had telephone taps. I sued GTE back in the 80s, got an out-of-court settlement. The real, most serious culprits of all are the military intelligence. I've had threatening phone calls. I came back from a trip once, and I got up in the morning. I was looking for a file on a desk, and I had a phone call, 827. The voice said, male voice said, "Did you find your file?" Click. They had a hidden camera in my house. I was gassed on the freeway, attempted gas on the freeway. They gassed my webmaster, Clarence Malcolm. I've interrupted 2 attempts to steal my car. I've had flat tires. In one instance, I had 3 nails in the same tire. That's a little more than a coincidence, I think. I've had my gun stolen. I had 4 guns stolen out of my house in Nebraska. I sleep with a gun under my pillow. I have a combat magnum. And one day, this is a couple of years ago, I check it regularly. I checked it and somebody had come in and taken the bullets out of it. So if they came in on me, I was going to have to throw the gun at them, I guess. Cameras, they'd taken pictures of me. I've been, my webmaster was hit with uranium-235. I know for a fact I've had a trash cover on me. My computer has been sabotaged. I've been expelled from the Ex-Agent Society. I've talked about my plants, the disinformation program, McCullough, Horowitz, and so forth. Those are just the life of a person who dares to take them on. Also, I might mention that in the early 1980s, I had 4 investigations on me. I know because I applied through the Freedom of Information Act. And one of the reports came, they sent me back. It wasn't anything significant, a couple of pages on a report. And they said, in the interest of, quote, national security, we can't give you the full file. Because think of it this way. Think of it this way. Private enterprise, right? If they invest money, they want a return on their money. There's no return on the money of these people running around chasing me on surveillances. You follow what I'm saying? In other words, there's no return. And who could finance all these operations that have been directed against me? Not only me, but other people, numerous other people. Who could finance that?